Hello everyone, welcome back once again to the Upper Tier Podcast, Pro Wrestling Weekly. I'm Dave, and I'm going to take you through this week's Dynamite Collision. Of course, it is a stacked show as it's on the run-in to Full Gear. It's the go-home show for both. We've got 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour of Collision, so let's not waste any time. We've got a stacked card in no particular order. Let's get right into it. Our first match, of course, Bobby Lashley versus Ricochet. This one is for the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet Royale for the AEW National Championship. This one was pretty much as you'd expect. It's Ricochet making his entrance. Bobby Lashley makes his way in, of course, as well. And we get a very, very long Ricochet promo. Now, I understand heels have to be heels. They have to rile the crowd up, get them set for the rest of the show. But this promo was just a little bit too long. And of course, it was a squash match at the very end of it. Bobby Lashley interrupts the promo, tosses Ricochet out of the ring onto the rest of his faction. And of course, once he gets back in, it's a spear. And it's a 1, 2, 3 and done. It's over. This one, Bobby Lashley wins. It didn't really last very long. But of course, MVP did a great job of selling the promo, stalling, building up Lashley, and of course, the final strike with the spear. That was that one. In between, after that, then we had a segment backstage where Samoa Joe addressed Hangman Adam Page alongside Shibata. So this one, of course, Katsuyori Shibata is taking on Hangman Page later on in the show, and that is a non-title match. But of course, this is all about story progression into Full Gear this week. We won't even take the results seriously because this is all about progressing the story, the women's tag tournament, so on and so forth. But this segment was very strange. I thought Joe did a fantastic promo. The only problem for me was Shibata didn't have that look in his eye or that look on his face that really sold it to me that he was angry, that really sold it to me that he was having a kind of a heel moment where he really needed to face the camera, make himself look a bit more angry, really have that expression in his face. Really, he kind of just looked bored, and that wasn't good to me. But Samoa Joe, perfection as always. This man is just immense at his promos. That was the segment that came up after the Bobby Lashley and Ricochet. And up next is an interesting one. We've got Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks, taking on Josh Alexander and Scorpio Sky. And this one was interesting. So this match was very good, and again, it was all about the story progression. You know, you had the Young Bucks and Josh Alexander versus Scorpio Sky and Dante Martin, or Skyflight as they're known. This one, it was all about progressing whether or not the Young Bucks are going to enter the Don Callis family. They've not made it official yet, but tonight Don wants them to make it official in the ring should they win this match. This one was really good. It had a good balance of kind of action outside of the ring and in the ring. It wasn't overly all over the place as these 6-man tags can be in AEW at times. There was good ring work on the ropes, good tags, really good pace and flow to the match. The ending was where it all led in to the next stage and into Full Gear. As I said, these matches are all about story progression this week. Once it got after the match, of course, the Young Bucks and Alexander won. The interesting thing was the Young Bucks hit the finish, went for the pin. Alexander pulled them away and applied the ankle lock for the win. So again, there was still that little bit of, you know, they weren't quite there yet. You know, there's still a bit of animosity between Alexander and the Young Bucks, which kind of didn't cement whether or not they're part of the Don Callis family. So afterwards, Don Callis came in, cut the promo and asked the Young Bucks, you've got your pyro, you've got your money flowing in, you're back to the top. Now's the time to make it official and say to the world that you're part of the Don Callis family. They asked them, and of course, before they could even react, the return of Kenny Omega happened. Of course, he came out with a steel chair and took out members of the Don Callis family. And of course, as they entered the ring, they got they got ambushed. They ambushed him. And the interesting thing here was that Don Callis then asked the Young Bucks to attack Kenny Omega. And of course that didn't happen because Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus made the save. This was a great pop from the crowd, especially for, you know, Jack Perry's entrance theme, Jurassic Express. I love this because the crowd love it. Their reaction to the song, to Jack Perry as a face, it's always great because, you know, he's massively over in AEW. Luchasaurus has always been a favorite of mine, and this tag team I really, really like, the Jurassic Express. So this is going into, of course, Full Gear, where you will have the Young Bucks and members of the Don Callis family taking on, Jurassic Express and Kenny Omega. Kenny, of course, says, "Oh, you're a member of the family now. Okay, we'll take that to the next level." And this is going to really run into Full Gear, but I have a feeling, a little inkling, that the Young Bucks aren't fully there with the Don Callis family, and they may do the switch and cost them the match of Full Gear. But we have a Full Gear review coming up, of course, after the weekend, so we'll talk about that then. Next on our card was a match that I was really looking forward to, and this is Shelton Benjamin against Speedball Mike Bailey. This one was for the number 2 spot in the Casino Gauntlet match, and this one was really good for 2 reasons, because I know these two can really wrestle. I know that Shelton Benjamin has had talent coming out of his ears for years. He is one of my favorite talents. And Speedball Mike Bailey, I know he's black belt in Taekwondo. He's really, really well disciplined. And this match was really good for the wrestling fan, for the real professional wrestling fan who loves those combinations, those holds, and, really that amateur feel to this match. Also, there's a little bit of action outside, but ultimately, these two combined really well. There was good flow, there was good chemistry, and this is the match that you want to watch. Even if you want to go back and just pick out matches from the show, it's 3 hours. It was a long show and a lot to get through. But if you love a professional wrestling match and really love the kind of Bret Hart, Owen Hart style of match, this one is definitely for you. I highly recommend going to watch this if you do like that style of wrestling. This was a really good match. We knew the Hurt Syndicate were going to get the win here. We could, predictability being what it is, going into Full Gear, Speedball was never going to win this match. We knew it was all about that progression for the Hurt Syndicate, but this was a really good match. And of course, Shelton Benjamin hit this with the super kick, got the 1, 2, 3, and he moves on to the number 2 spot in the Casino Gauntlet. The next match on this card was Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, the Death Riders, taking on Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy. The entrance for the Death Riders has kind of been a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I don't really like them coming out of the back all the time. I would leave that for pay-per-views. I would leave it to be something, somewhat a one-off for pay-per-views and stuff, not do it all the time, because it does eat up a lot of time in the show, and it takes ages for them to actually come out and come through. Now, the reason that this match was particularly enticing was because it's Moxley and Castagnoli. 2 big, strong, brutal guys to get in the ring with. Roddy Strong and Orange Cassidy have a lot of fluidity. They're very technical when it comes to things, whereas, polar opposites of Moxley and Castagnoli, they're going to use power, brute force, and strength. And that's what this match had. It was a lot of Moxley and Castagnoli showcasing their strengths. And against Roddy Strong and Orange Cassidy, they had a chance kind of about 5-10 minutes into the match to really show what they could do, and they got on the front foot for a good few minutes, and then it was back to Moxley and Castagnoli. Of course, the Death Riders did win this match, and the interesting thing about it was this is going into Full Gear, where the Death Riders, there was a big chant in this match for Jon Moxley: "You tapped out, you tapped out." We all know he tapped out, and this was interesting because Blood and Guts having gone, Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong came out looking really good from that, and this didn't impact how they looked going into Full Gear. After that then, once Death Riders got the win, we had a backstage promo with Brodito, and that's building up to Brodito against FTR for the Tag Team Championships at Full Gear. I hope this is the end of this rivalry and this feud. It has been doing my head in for weeks because it's just not exciting. FTR are just so stale at the moment. They need to either turn face or do something to really bring them back to the crowd, because they've lost me completely. I love Brodito, but they're getting damaged and hampered going up against FTR. Give them another tag team to feud with after this. I hope this is the end of this, because it's just not nice to watch. Up next is our Women's World Tag Team Championship Tournament Quarterfinal. Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, Timeless Love Bombs, went up against Alex Windsor and Rio. This was really good. The promo that Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa did as well in the lead up to this match was really fun. I like this timeless love bombs angle. I think they have. Everyone seems to have a great chemistry with Tony Storm. I love the chemistry between these two, Mina Shirakawa and Tony Storm, as a tag team. Timeless love bombs are fantastic. The crowd love it. The entrance and the synchronized dance and in the entrance was so fun, and it's just so good to be able to just watch this and watch them perform, because it is something special. You don't get that a lot of times in wrestling these days, where you can sit back and everything else around you just disappears and you're focused on something that is a lot of fun. Alex Windsor and Rio did provide some great moments in this match and some high flying moments in this match, but ultimately Storm and Shirakawa stole the show. They get the win and they progress on to the semi-finals of the Women's World Tag Team Tournament at Full Gear. This was really good, and do you know what? I feel bad for Windsor and Rio, because this was just really, really good. The segment backstage after that then was the Babes of Wrath. This was Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. This was a great promo as well. I love Willow Nightingale's kind of, boisterousness and just really, really, really good. Harley Cameron as well, fantastic. This promo really got me hyped for this upcoming match, and it really was fantastic. And this promo was for the run-up to their semi-final match against the Sisters of Sin in the tournament. After that, we had another quarter-final match. It's Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir, the Megasus, versus Tay Mello, and Anna Jay. And this one, really, Bayne and Shafir got the win. This was kind of run-of-the-mill, as if they didn't really have a story progression for this match, so they kind of went ahead and just put on a good show. It was a good match. It was standard. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't a very memorable match, to say the least. So yeah, this one was good. It was standard. Well, what else can I say? Bayne and Shafir get the win. And next up is our AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page taking on AEW World Trios Champion Katsuyori Shibata. This one, again, it's all about the story progression for these guys. And going into Full Gear, we've got Hangman against Samoa Joe in a steel cage. Samoa Joe was on commentary for this one, and Hangman knew it. This match was pretty much all Hangman to kind of showcase how good he can be, regardless of the injury that he's showing to his ribs over the previous weeks of beatdowns from the ops. And this one was really enjoyable, because you can see the rage, you can see the real, darkness of Hangman coming out, and especially with the lariat finish as well. It was actually really good. There was a segment in this match, the finish was fantastic. So Shibata had the ankle lock on Hangman Adam Page. He grabbed the ropes and his boot slipped off the right foot, and Shibata's holding the boot. He managed to clothesline Shibata, who threw the boot in the air. Hangman caught it, put the boot back on, and flipped over the ropes to do the lariat. It was I don't know whether it was meant to happen, but even if you're not going to watch this match, watch the finish, because it is hilarious and it is so good. Just little bits in these matches that, just you look at it and go, that was really cool. So do take a look at that. Afterwards, Hangman did cut a really good promo on Samoa Joe, saying the last time he was in a steel cage, he knows what happened. If he has to do it again, he will. A warning to Samoa Joe going into Full Gear this Saturday. And of course, don't forget, we will be doing a review that will hopefully be out on Monday for Full Gear on Saturday. I cannot wait for this pay-per-view. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. And we'll move on to the next competition, which is, of course, the Double Jeopardy match. The AEW Unified Champion, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, against the CMLL World Trios Champion, Mascara Dorada. This one was good because I was looking forward to Dorada really bringing out the technical ability in Okada. People have been saying it for a long time that Okada has been almost lazy in the ring lately. He's not been as strong style as he should be, and this is something that's really been bothering me as well. I love the Rainmaker Okada. I love the gimmick. I love what he can do. We've all seen what he can do in New Japan, and since he's come to AEW, it's almost like he's been just half-assing it. He's been 50% all the time. This match, you can see Mascara Dorada really wanted to bring out the the Okada that we know. And we got glimpses of it in this match. He was forced to interact. We got that really stiff Okada in places in this match that makes me hopeful that we can get the Okada that we all know and love to come out in AEW. I've been waiting a long time for that as well. So then we cut. Once Okada gets the win, of course, we knew he was going to get the win. This was the Double Jeopardy match for Full Gear. So going into the segment and promo following this, this was the backstage promo with FTR. This was painful. Again, FTR's promos have become absolutely atrocious in the last 3 or 4 months or so, and I've no qualms about saying it. This was terrible. I don't want to listen to them cut a promo. At the moment they are so stale and so bad. It's as if they know it and they just want to get to the next stage. Just get to it. Change it, refresh it, go, turn face if you have to. Just do something to make us, find you entertaining again, please, because we really don't. On to the main event for tonight's Collision Dynamite. It was the undisputed ROH Women's World TV Championship match. Mercedes Moné taking on Red Velvet. If we know anything about creative, if we know anything about Mercedes Moné in the last year, this was always got to go one way. And of course, it's running to the Full Gear match between Chris Statlander and Mercedes Moné for the Women's World Championship. This one has me worried. Mercedes Moné, the CEO, I know she's over with the crowd. I know she gets the chance, the CEO chance. I know she's quite popular at the moment. But for me, you do not need to put all these belts on one talent. One, where are all these belts in the companies that they come from? What are they going to do? All these titles are gone now. They put them on this one talent. No. She should never have had all these belts to begin with. If she wants to go in a world title run, go for it. That's no problem. But if she wins on Saturday, this is going to be a really, really damaging result for the women's division in AEW. And it could cause irreparable damage because you're giving the world title and every other belt to one talent, in my opinion, who does not deserve all of these belts or even a world title run, in my opinion. I think the title run with Toni Storm has been fantastic. In my opinion, it really has. And to pass it on to Chris Statlander, she's doing a great job of building herself up now and going on a run with this title. She needs to continue it, and she needs to win at Full Gear. That closes out Collision Dynamite for this week. I've tried my best to squash it into as little time as possible for you. And as always, if you can't watch Dynamite, or in this case, Dynamite Collision, just remember you can catch it here on the Upper Tier Podcast, Pro Wrestling Weekly, and I will have a video for you every week summarizing all of Dynamite or Dynamite Collision. Thank you for watching as always, and we'll see you next week.